Good morning, everyone. My name is Billy Lemon. I am the executive director of this establishment, the Castor Country Club. Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, let me start off with some, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Supervisor Dorsey. I want to say thank you to Supervisor Mandelman. He is not here. I want to especially thank Tom and the mayor and her staff for always having us in their purview. It's super important for small nonprofits like us to be in the mix. I want to say what we do here, for any of you that don't know, we are not a golf country club, right? Since 1983, we have been serving as a community center, and we help people change their lives, whatever that means for them. We have recovery here. We have meetings. We do 46 a week. We have workforce development opportunities at the cafe that are funded by the generosity of the mayor and the Department of Public Health. We have social support. We have a community arts program. So we like a holistic approach. We approach it from abstinence, but we find ourselves on the spectrum of harm reduction because we believe everybody has their own path to recovery. That's why this initiative, Read to Recovery, is so fantastic, because you never ever know when you are going to be in a position to spark a fire for somebody. And so for folks that are struggling, of which there are many, and I'll speak about myself. I'm 10 years sober. So for folks that are struggling and find respite in places like the public library, it is immensely powerful for folks to have access to communication and materials that may be the thing that sparks the fire in them wanting to find recovery. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow, but the seed is planted. And if we can do that as a community and as a city and make access to materials easier and just more accepted and reduce the stigma from recovery, I think we are on track to embrace this kind of renaissance feeling that is happening right now in the city that I am getting. I feel like we are on the precipice of a renaissance. And there are lots of folks that are still struggling. And this place, a sober community center that supports the holistic person, these are the types of places that I think are going to be part of that renaissance for this city. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank the supervisors for doing the hard work to get things passed and funded. And I want to give a big shout out and a round of applause for Mayor London Breed for doing the hard work and doing it so damn well. All right, thank you.
So my name is Matt, and I am an addict and alcoholic. And I'm a member of the Board of Supervisors, and it is my honor to be here today to have the mayor sign into law a program called Read to Recovery that will make San Francisco the first major city in the United States to commit to universal access to free-to-keep recovery literature in all recovery traditions in all published languages at every branch library, free of charge. This is another step in a direction of empowering and supporting and incentivizing long-term recovery. As Billy said, we talked about the importance of having harm reduction as part of that, and harm reduction really has a necessary role to play in saving lives. But long-term recovery is really what is about changing lives for the better and creating a life that is worth living. And I can tell you as a person in recovery, and today I've got 3 years, 9 months and 19 days. This institution has been such a foundational part of my recovery. And when Billy talks about this being something that changes and saves lives, I can personally attest to it. I'm here every Sunday morning. I'm the host for I know how the TV works and all that stuff. So this is a great place to come if you ever want recovery, if you're ever curious about recovery. And I just want to say that, as an elected politician, it would be my strong preference that I have all the great ideas and that I get all the credit for them. But the reality about this program, Read to Recovery, is that this came from the San Francisco Public Library itself, led by a great city librarian, Michael Lambert. Oh my God, sorry, Michael Lambert, our great city librarian. But it was Doreen Horston, who is a branch librarian, who really had this idea and championed it. And I will say, as somebody who's been in city government a long time, that's the story of most of the great innovations that come. It's the people who really care, who understand, who know what they're talking about when they're talking about books that we need, that we have to refresh more. So I want to introduce the person who had this idea, who elevated it to me and was really instrumental in this. Please welcome Doreen Horston.
Hello, my name's Doreen and I'm a librarian. So, several years ago, I read this book. I'm a librarian, so I'm going to book talk. This is Dreamland by Sam Quinones. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it planted a seed in my brain for an idea. And in 2022, the library started building up our circulating collection of recovery books. These are books to check out. So we bought memoirs, program books, self-help books, and we just wanted to have them in the collection as a way to kind of help the community so that it would be throughout the city at all the branches and we would have a nice circulating collection of recovery items. And when I look back on all of this, I'm amazed at the way things fell into place, because that spring, Mayor Breed appointed Matt Dorsey to be the supervisor in District 6, which is my district. Thank you for that, by the way. And I got to meet Matt Dorsey. I read his plan, SF Recovers, which involves 20 other city departments in an effort to deal with the city's addiction crisis. And I said, hey, the library can help you out with this. We have a circulating collection, and we want to be a part of it. And he said, well, what about book distribution? And so that conversation started. And in the fall of 2022, the main library started with their first batch of recovery books, distributing them. In the fall, later that fall, the voters passed Proposition F, which ensured funding for this program. And in 2023, 3 locations were actively distributing these recovery books: the Main, the Park Branch, and Mission Bay. And that went well. And then in early 2024, the Eureka Valley branch joined us, and my friend and colleague Jeremy is here. He's the manager, so you're right here in the neighborhood. So if you need a recovery book, you can just head up to the Eureka Valley branch and get one from them. And then in June, the Board of Supervisors passed Read to Recovery, and they all voted yes, which is amazing. They all agreed. And so I want to get back to this book, Dreamland, and how it influenced me. This book focuses on Portsmouth, Ohio, and what they did with their opiate crisis. And in the last chapter of this book, they talk about how they changed the culture in Portsmouth. Instead of being a destination for pain clinics that were dispensing all these powerful opiates and getting everybody hooked, they started to be a center for recovery. They opened up coffee shops, and they had sober event spaces like this place. I love what you said about that. And businesses came back and people went back to work, and it changed the culture. And that's what I'm hoping for here in San Francisco. I'm hoping that as we expand this program to all of our library locations, we can be a part of that recovery culture. And I'm very optimistic, and I love the energy and the feedback that's been coming around this program. So thank you, everybody. Please visit your local library.
And before we get to the mayor, I want to introduce somebody who is a colleague of mine on the San Francisco Democratic County Central Committee, who is also from the recovery community and has founded some drug treatment, actually a couple more than one drug treatment program, who's really doing God's work, but is also representative of a community that's finding its voice in politics in the recovery community. Somebody who I hope and will do everything I can to make sure is a rising star in San Francisco politics. Please welcome Cedric Akbar.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. How you doing today? Change is happening in San Francisco now, and we can see the change of the way we come together now. We have been ignited and vitalized, and we also have our mayor, London Breed, who was nominated by the Democratic Central Party Central Committee as a sole endorsement for our party. And also we have Kamala Harris now who's running. So now black women are moving right now. So we got to support this movement right now and support women. But I do want to thank you, Mayor Breed, because now it manifests itself. You always want to know what people are doing. So, because a lot of times when you're running for office, you can't say all the things that you're doing. But that's for us to do, to be able to go out and talk about things like this. This is incremental changes that has to be made in this city. And we're trying to do it and do it in a way collectively and together. And I just pray on this day that we continue to work together in this. Read Recovery works well because a lot of times in this social media society, we do a lot of things through our phones. But sometimes when you just take the time to be able to read the information and learn how to grasp information, what I've learned is that people learn differently. And also comprehension is so important in this world because what we have when the people come to us, a lot of them do not comprehend what they're reading. So it gives us time to be able to teach them how to comprehend what they're reading. And also it opens up the doors for the libraries for people to be able to go in and get them so they don't have to steal the books anymore and be able to just have the books in their hands because it's not so much, I don't even call it stealing when you're trying to do something to help yourself. But that's what it kind of looks like on the surface, but it's really trying to get help for yourself. So now people have access to be able to get the proper help they need. And I love this too because I've been in recovery for a long time, been 32 years in this game. And I remember when the Castro Country Club first opened, it was just like a little raggedy building. And when I walked in here today, I couldn't believe all the things that have happened. So it's great that you be able to have an environment where a person can come, be safe, and feel comfortable wherever they are in their phase of recovery. But I just want to thank you today. Let's keep this work going together, collectively. We may all disagree on certain things, but we do have to agree that we want to make a better San Francisco. All right? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cedric. Now, it was the convergence of a public health crisis and drug overdose deaths and my own journey in recovery from addiction that moved me to ask the mayor for a job that I never thought I would want, let alone have. And I remember when we had that conversation, Mayor, the day that it happened, I was celebrating 18 months of continuous sobriety after what was the darkest relapse that I have had. I've spent most of my adult life in recovery, but I was coming out of a relapse, and Mike remembers because we were in meetings together on some of those, that I didn't know if I had a recovery left in me. But somehow I found a way. And on that day that I was celebrating 18 months of sobriety, I asked Mayor London Breed to consider me as her appointee to a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors. What I had to acknowledge at that moment was, as high reward as those of us who struggle with addiction and alcoholism may think we are, we're also high risk. And I was asking the mayor to give me a job at a moment when I didn't have enough continuous sobriety to be a treasurer in a 12-step program. There was a risk with what I was asking Mayor Breed to do. And she took that risk. And I will never forget it. And there's one thing about how, for me, I had come to terms with how I was going to talk about my personal journey publicly. What I hadn't really prepared for was how I would talk about my public life privately. And that means in some meetings. And there was one meeting when we were meeting that I was taking part in. This is a recovery group that I'm in. I'm a regular. And I was sharing for a few weeks that I was interviewing for a job. I didn't know if I was going to get it. I didn't know if I would be making the right decision if I did get it. And I had a lot of anxiety about it. And I got that job on the Board of Supervisors. Thank you to Mayor London Breed. And 2 days later, we had that meeting. And everybody in that meeting said, "That was the job you were interviewing for?" Dorsey, you're a train wreck. Does she know what she did? But after that meeting, I did get a call from somebody who was a regular in that meeting, somebody who I'm on the journey of recovery with, and we have both watched each other go through hell and back. And he called me and he spoke to me with more joy in his voice than I have ever heard. And he said how proud he was, and he said, now we've got a seat at the table. And it still brings like tears to my eyes to think about that, and I think about it every day in the work that we do. But I want everybody in San Francisco's recovery community to know who gave us a seat at the table. London Breed gave the recovery community a seat at the table, and the District 6 gave me 4 years to keep going. But Mayor, I want you to know what it means to us, that you understand our journey and that you're putting the city of St. Francis to put skin in the game in supporting our journeys. It means the world to me, and it is just an honor to stand with you on this. Please welcome everybody, our champion, Mayor London Breed.
This is not tears, there's wind in my eyes. But let me just start by saying it's such an honor and joy to be here in this community and to take things a step further and make the kinds of investments that are not only going to change people's lives, it's going to save people's lives. And I want to appreciate Matt Dorsey for his extraordinary leadership. He has said what he wanted to come do on the Board of Supervisors, and that really resonated with me, and it touched my heart because it is something that some of you probably also know I care deeply about. In losing a sister to a drug overdose the day before she turned 26, and other family members who struggled and continue even to this day to struggle with addiction. It was sadly a natural part of my life. Friends and family, growing up in public housing, the crack epidemic really took my community by storm, and my experiences have shaped how I push for the kinds of policies that I hope and pray will lead to a better life for the people of this city. And I appreciate the partnership with Matt Dorsey and the very creative solutions that he is finding to make investments. And I want to also thank you, Doreen, for highlighting this and making this an important issue in his platform, because it's not one thing. It's not just what one person says. It's everything. It is every piece of the puzzle that we can put together that meets people where they are. And the Castro Country Club, under Billy's leadership, has been truly, I know, instrumental in this extraordinary work. We can talk about what we want to see, but without partners like Billy, without partners like Cedric, focusing on more than just one kind of recovery, we have been able in this city for the first time to highlight abstinence-based solutions and invest over $20 million in 7 programs for this purpose. And I know that when I have a chance to see or engage with anyone in recovery, it brings me joy. I met a man a couple of weeks ago when I was buying some pies over at Three Babes. And he was standing in line real quiet, and on my way out, he said, "Thank you, Mayor." I was shocked because he wasn't giving me that friendly face vibe. You know, the mayor, you never know. And I said, "Oh, what did I do?" He said, "Well, you know, I've been 3 months clean and sober. And because you've been putting the hammer down a little bit, I decided that it's time for me to pull it together. And when you want help, you can get help." And he said he comes to Castro Country Club. He said he comes here, he's been in his place in the mission for about 3 months, been clean and sober for about 3 months, and he is on the path to recovery, and he is so happy. He is so happy, and I pray every day that people like him and so many others who are struggling with addiction, that they get the help and the support that they need. And so whenever we have an opportunity as a city to make substantive change, to make investments, to do things like this, it is my absolute honor and privilege without question to do it. And then for the library as a partner, Michael, and for all of you here today to spread the word, because we have to make it easier to get treatment and recovery than it is to do the opposite. We have to make this the priority than the opposite. We have to come hard on those streets, on those corners, in the same way that many of those folks who are trying to perpetuate this other behavior that they are doing. We have to be that change. We have to be out there. And that is the direction we're going in, and that is why we are seeing this recovery community grow. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank you, Supervisor Dorsey, for your leadership. And to be very, very clear, there will continue to be more to come. So let's get this legislation signed.
So, seat. Give Mayor the seat.
Oh,
There you go. Yep.
all right. Here we go. And the date is?
The 26th. That's me every day.
All right.
All right.
Here we go.
Thank you, Mayor. Great.
You get a book.
awesome.
You get a book. You get
Everybody gets recovery. We all lost.
And Monday at 11 o'clock on the City Hall steps, we'll have another announcement on recovery, so look, check your emails over the weekend. All right.